Are those leaders right? Are they not reading the room well?
The labor market right now is running slow. There is an open question about to what extent is that AI. And I think those leaders, from their point of view, they're just looking at the opportunities. But there's also risks, and I think that's what the students are responding to. So you have two folks who are trying to have a conversation potentially there, but they're really just talking past each other. Because on the opportunity side, we see lots of jobs being added. We see that AI hiring is outpacing the overall labor market by 30%. But when you look at the areas...
What types of jobs?
AI engineer, forward deployed engineer, AI integrator. These are roles that are about building and maintaining and supporting the AI ecosystem. And of course, there's a ton of data center jobs that go along with that too, about 500,000 that we've seen added over the last few years. So on that side, there's lots of opportunity. A lot of growth in the US right now is being driven by AI capital expenditures. There are a lot of jobs being added to the AI ecosystem. But when you look outside of AI, when you look outside of a few areas like healthcare, there's just no momentum in the labor market. We see hiring 20% lower than what it was prior to the pandemic. And if you don't already have a job, it's really difficult to find one. And that's what I think a lot of grads are experiencing and feeling. And when they're told that it might be AI is the reason you can't find a job, of course they're going to react that way.
Where's the area, at least of where students do not want to be? Like the majors that are not getting jobs, the careers that will no longer exist because those jobs are being taken by AI. What are those?
We don't know what those are yet. Often when we have a conversation about AI, we just forget about the economics and throw it out the window. Just because AI can do something doesn't mean that it will. It's really going to depend on those costs and benefits, which is why when you hear economists talk about, well, what's AI going to do? What's going to take over? At the moment, it's too early to tell. There are, of course, some areas that we see are particularly weak on LinkedIn, like back-end developers. And we see forward deployed engineers is very strong. So those folks who are focused, they're software engineers, they're solution software engineers, but they're much more focused on AI integration. Whereas back-end developers, they're focused on that classical cleaning up your coding base, fixing bugs, all of those things that AI is actually quite good at. So there are obviously some areas where we see the tasks that you need are shifting, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're being wholesale displaced.
I feel like for a liberal arts student, you're like speaking a different language with all of these forward deployed engineers.
I was thinking, like, I would have been probably screwed.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You'd be surprised how many art history majors end up in the Goldman Sachs Research Institute. A lot of
I wasn't art history, I was economics, but I think about anything that's data intensive.
But even doing that research today with LLMs, able to do research?
Yeah.
A lot of jobs today, which are very data-oriented, data-focused, they're actually more accessible to people with liberal arts degrees. If you can use LLMs well, you know how to prompt them, you know how to vet them and evaluate the outputs, that actually has made these occupations more open to you.
Well, I think of one of the conversations we had at Bloomberg Technology in San Francisco that said that maybe the liberal arts, I can't remember who it was, but it was...
Well, Daniela Amade at Anthropic has talked about this a lot and the importance of liberal arts.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, if we're going to circle back to this just being curious and discovery. I mean, it's part of what I like about journalism is there's something new thrown at us every day and we get paid to kind of research it and find out about it. But you have to kind of figure out how to ask the right questions and so on. How do you see it, or is it, again, too early to know the impact of AI on the labor market?
One of the big concerns that I've seen folks express, particularly around education, is the development of critical thinking skills. Mm-hmm. If we offboard those onto some automated tool, you need experience to develop judgment, to develop that human judgment that takes place in a lot of roles. And you see this when we think about, well, you ask employers why they're not hiring. So, well, I can't really use junior folks right now. I need people who have judgment, but you need to build those people.
Right.
Those people have to be developed over time. So if you're an employer going out and saying, I'm not going to hire entry-level workers, well, eventually you will have a problem.
Right. Can't go up the ladder if all those rungs at the bottom don't exist unless you can jump pretty high.